Hello and good afternoon, everyone. We are certainly glad to have you here. My name is Gayla Gennard, and I am located at the AG Bell office in Washington, D.C. Today, I have with me my colleague, Svante Borgerson, who is the Executive Director of AG Bell International, which is located in Madrid, Spain. We are so looking forward to the AG Bell Global Symposium that is coming up June 30th through July 2nd in Madrid, and that is the very reason we're holding this call today, along with the series of other calls. We are going to record this call today. It's going to be edited. If you don't want your face to show at all, please feel free to stop video. We'll probably be able to edit it out, but if you're really uncomfortable with that, please go ahead and stop your video. During the call, you will be muted until we open up the line. Svante does have a prepared presentation, but he is going to be opening up for questions. We have designed these calls so that we don't have too many people at one time, so there will be time to answer questions and specific questions. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the microphone over to my colleague, Svante.
Thanks, Gayla. And as you're located in one part of the world, I'm located in Madrid. It's actually, we've had a couple of excellent weather in terms of a couple of months of excellent weather, but now we're back to winter all of a sudden here. I don't know what happened, what's happening in the world, but all of a sudden, when spring comes, we're back to winter here. So anyways, let's get started. Welcome, Beth, and welcome, Juliana. I can see how many more people are connected here. But anyways, let's get started. We wanted to talk about, well, things to do in Madrid, around Madrid, and further beyond. If you make a trip over, which I hope you all will. So before we started, I wanted to just mention a couple of things. First of all, as you can see here on the first slide, we're making reference to the symposium website, and there's a lot more information about Madrid, and also about pre-organized tours that are being offered by a company that works closely with the event organizers here in Madrid. They're called the Insiders, and they have a lot of, I think, very, very well organized trips and excursions in Madrid as well. So please take a look at that. I think they're very, very worthwhile. And some of the things that they're organizing are actually much in line with what I will be talking about today as well. So don't forget to talk about that, to look at that on the website. Also, I wanted to highlight the gala dinner that we're organizing in conjunction with the symposium on the Monday, the 1st, and we've organized instead of the traditional sort of dinner at the event hotel. What we've decided to do is to do something different, and we managed to organize a tour, a private tour of the world-renowned Prada Museum here in Madrid after they close in the evening. So we're going to have the museum all for ourselves, and after a private tour in groups, we will have a cocktail dinner at the museum. I think it's a unique opportunity for everybody to get to see, as I said, one of the best museums in the world after it's closed at night, without having to bump into thousands and thousands of tourists. It'll be open just for ourselves. So please take a look at that on the website as well. I think it's very worthwhile. So don't miss on that. Don't miss out on that. So anyways, Madrid. I wanted to talk about Madrid. I wanted to talk about Spain. I wanted to talk about things you can do in Madrid, around Madrid, and further beyond, as I said before. So first, some general comments about Spain and Madrid. As you can see, Spain is the 10th largest economy in the world. It's also one of the biggest countries in Europe, both in terms of population, about 47 million people live here, and in terms of size, together with France and Sweden, funnily enough, is one of the biggest countries in Europe. It belongs to the European Union, and it's ranked this year the safest country in the world, which is always good to know when you're traveling, that there's very little crime in Spain, and particularly here in Madrid. The worst crime we see here is pretty much pickpocketing and things like that, which of course you should be wary about. But other than that, very, very little violent crime, and that's always reassuring to know before you're coming over. Another thing, hopefully you won't get to see that, but our healthcare system is also ranked top 5 in the world. Should the need arise. Just keep that in mind as a reassuring factor before you travel. Madrid, Madrid is the capital, as you probably know already. About 7 million inhabitants in the greater Madrid area. And funnily enough, being such a big city, I think it's the 3rd largest city in Europe. The airport is very, very convenient. It's located only 10-15 minutes without traffic, I should say, from the city center. Saving for rush hour, it will take a little bit longer in the morning and the evening rush hour, of course. But other than that, it's very close to the city center. And in terms of Madrid, well, Madrid is mostly known for being a beautiful city, of course. It's very well known for its gastronomy. Spain is a very regionalized country where every region has its own food and its own culture. And Madrid is a bit of a melting pot for Spanish culture, and therefore you can have Catalan food, classic Madrid food. You can have food from the south, food from the northern parts where there's more fish and closer to the oceans, of course. So you can see that all in Madrid if you're interested, of course. Museums, we have some of the best museums in the world. The Prado is, of course, one of them, but not the only one. We have the Modern Art Museum. I'll talk more about that later. We have 2 of the most successful soccer clubs in Europe, Real Madrid being one of them. And the stadium, the Real Madrid Stadium, is literally a minute walk from the venue hotel. So that's always good to know for those of you traveling with husbands and children, if they want to do a tour of the stadium, which is one of the tours actually being offered by on the website as well. But mostly, I think Madrid is known for its people. It's a melting pot, as I said. It's a melting pot of Spanish culture mainly, and therefore it's very open, and it's a very active city, with a lot of nightlife and a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants, and a lot of people on the streets, pretty much at any hour of the day. So you'll enjoy that, I think. Madrid is also located in the center of the country, making it very convenient, and not only for visiting the city, but for visiting other parts of Spain. Barcelona, it's about a 6-hour drive, but it's only about a 2.25 by bullet train. Madrid is sort of the hub for the bullet train service around Spain. So you can get to Barcelona in 2 hours and a bit. You can get to Valencia in under 2 hours. You can get to Seville in a matter of about 2 hours as well, or even the south coast, the Costa del Sol, Malaga, Marbella, and all that area in about 2 hours as well. So please keep that in mind. Traveling is easy, convenient, and not terribly expensive either. But before we go on, I wanted to show a short video about Madrid. So please enjoy, and we'll talk again. We can put it on.
We've put on the final touches. something we want to show you. Everything is ready. To make you feel at home. But in this photo, there is just one thing missing. You. Madrid, reserved for you.
All right, that's one of the things, looking at the video for the end time now, one thing that I wanted to highlight is I think we have some of the most beautiful sunsets in the world, actually. So don't miss out on that. There's some beautiful spots to watch the sunset if you have time during the symposium. I guess you won't, perhaps, but before or after, I'm sure you can take a couple of days off. Don't miss out on the good sunset. Anyways, to speak a little bit more about Madrid, well, I show you some pictures here as well. As you can see, this is the picture up on the left is the old town of Madrid, with the old Plaza Mayor, which is the main square of the old town. Bottom left is the Royal Palace. They also included some typical restaurants and bars in and around Madrid, as well as a picture of the world famous Real Madrid soccer stadium. I said, very close to the hotel. The hotel, by the way, is located in the northern parts of the city. It's in a fairly residential area, I would say, close to the business district, but not inside the business district. So it's very conveniently located. I'll show you on a map now in a second. Very easy to get around by bus, by tube, etc. So you'll see when I show you the map how conveniently located it is. But before that, I wanted to mention, I think again, the metro system is excellent. You can get pretty much anywhere within the city in a matter of minutes. Again, buses is another option, and taxis, of course. Taxis and Uber are very inexpensive. I think you can move around or move to pretty much any spot in Madrid for 5 or 6 euros, perhaps a little bit more at night. But really, it's quite inexpensive to move around Madrid. And if not, you can always walk. Madrid is very compact, so it's very easy to get by walking even. I mean, to walk from northern parts of Madrid to the southern parts or the old town, it's really not more than 15, 20, perhaps half an hour walk, depending on where you're going. So walking is always an option as well, and that's a good way of seeing more of the city, of course. Another thing worthwhile mentioning, I think, is, and I said before, it's a very vibrant city, full of restaurants and full of bars, full of food markets. I can mention 5 or 6 of them. Some of them were very famous. Other ones are sort of off the beaten track, really. The more famous ones are, one is called the Mercado San Miguel in the old town, which is an old market turned into a sort of a tapas market. Very well worth a visit. Another one is the Mercado de San Miguel. Well, there are tons of them, and they're all very authentic and worth a visit if you take some time off to do some sightseeing in Madrid. Other things to see, well, museums I mentioned, the Prado, the Reina Sofia, the Modern Art Museum, that has a wonderful collection, and the more famous paintings they have in the permanent collection is the Guernica painting by Picasso, that I'm sure you've seen many times, and the original, which is a huge painting, I think about 8 meters by 4, and it's well worth a visit just to see the Guernica. It's Picasso's most famous painting, without a doubt. The Thyssen collection is another museum close by. It's all in what they call here the museum triangle. So you can visit the museum as well if you're interested. The Prado, I would say, for the gala dinner that I hope you'll sign up for. Flamenco is another thing that most people coming to Spain are interested in seeing. Madrid is really not a big center for flamenco. Flamenco is more in the southern areas of Spain, in Andalusia. But there are some excellent flamenco places, or tablaos, as we call them here, where you can see world-class flamenco. So that's something else that if you're interested, it's available, easy to reserve, and I think there will be a tour as well, dinner with flamenco at some of the best known tablaos in Madrid. Sorry. Architecture, of course. Madrid is a city that has grown throughout the centuries, and the first buildings in the old town were built in the 15th century, and they're still there. And as you move up north in the city, you'll see architecture from the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th century, and striking modern architecture as well. So that's something to see if you're into architecture. I wanted to show you a map, just for you to get a feeling of the size of Madrid. The sort of red spot at the bottom of the map, where Chris is helping out here, showing you. That's the old part of Madrid, where Madrid was started, really. And just east of that is the sort of central part of Madrid. And north of the central part, you'll see what's called the Salamanca district, which is a sort of more exclusive shopping district in Madrid. And further up north, you'll see our hotel, which is that area up there. The hotel, as I said, is in a residential area, so it's very conveniently located. And as I said, a taxi ride to the old part of Madrid is probably 7 or 8 euros, no more than that, or a euro for a metro ticket. And walking would probably be half an hour. So it's very compact, a compact city, easy to move around in, and again, very safe. You don't feel unsafe in the middle of the night. It's not a place where you feel that you can't walk alone or being afraid of getting robbed or anything like that. It's a very safe city. So that's always good to know. But Madrid, it's not only Madrid. Around Madrid, there's a lot of things that I think, if you have time, you should definitely see. One of these cities is Toledo. It's only about an hour or even less south of Madrid. The picture on the left, the 3 pictures, is a picture of Toledo. Toledo was the capital of the Spanish Empire when Spain was the superpower back in the 16th century. Toledo was actually the capital. So Toledo has some very interesting sites, and a cathedral which is second to none. Again, it's a place where you can get to very easily, and it's miss out on Toledo. If you have more time, just north of Madrid, on the other side, there are the Madrid Mountains, and just north of the mountains, again, about an hour from the city, is Segovia. Segovia is famous for many things. First of all, for being a beautiful town, and secondly, it's famous for having one of the best remains of a Roman, well, it's not a remain, it's actually still working, Roman aqueduct in the world. You can see that picture of the aqueduct in the bottom right. And there's also the Alcázar Castle. The Alcázar Castle is here, it's known as the Alcázar Castle. But it's also known as being the inspiration for the Walt Disney Castle after a visit by Walt Disney before the Disney company was actually founded. So a worthwhile visit as well. Avila, another beautiful town in the region of Madrid, about an hour and a bit from the city. So Avila is another beautiful place to visit if you have time. And there's also some villages that are close to Toledo, Segovia, etc. that you can sort of combine. If you go to Toledo, for example, I would recommend perhaps visiting Pedraza or go for lunch or something like that in Pedraza. Pedraza is a small village, medieval village, only about 10-15 minutes from Segovia. So it's very easy to get to, and it's a beautiful place to visit as well. And similarly, if you go to Segovia, you can combine the Segovia visit with visits to the villages of Chinchon or Aranjuez that are very worthwhile as well. So a lot of things to do. Around Madrid. You want to sort of take a day trip before or after the symposium, and so there's a lot of things to see in Madrid, but don't miss out on these day trips around Madrid either, because Toledo and Segovia, Avila, they're all places that are wonderful, and if you have time for a day trip, don't cancel it. Do it. Don't stick around Madrid, because there's so much more to see around the city as well. But some of you would probably have a little bit more time to perhaps extend your stay, and if you do have more time, you can do a 2-day trip or a 3-day trip or even longer if time permits. So I wanted to make a couple of suggestions for those of you who would like to see more of Spain. Andalusia, which is the southernmost region of Spain, and it's very close to my heart because I grew up down there. But not because of that, perhaps, but because I think it's probably one of the trips that I would recommend the most. First of all, Andalusia has some great cities: Granada, Cordoba, and Seville. Malaga as well, that are quite large cities, and Granada was the home of the Moorish Empire, and what you see on the left upper picture is the Alhambra Palace, which was built by the Arabs during the occupation of Spain from the 7th to 12th century, and it's a beautiful place. So go to the south, go to Granada and see the Alhambra, and maybe combine it with a trip to Cordoba and Seville, or even, if you have more time, go and do a tour of the white villages of Andalusia, as they're called, because of the heat in the south. All the old villages are whitewashed, and they're worth a visit because of their beauty. And there's some other things to do. There's some handcraft and things like that might be worthwhile if you're interested in shopping as well. But they're beautiful, and if you you have time, I would certainly do a tour of the wine as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But Andalusia is a big region, as I said. It's so there's more than culture. There is beach, the southern coast, what's known as the Costa del Sol, which starts in Malaga, the city of Malaga, and goes all the way to Gibraltar, and from the beach from the beaches on the Costa del Sol, you can actually see Africa across the Strait of Gibraltar. The picture on the left actually shows the view from somewhere in Andalusia and perhaps Gibraltar across to Africa. So these are the Rift Mountains of Morocco that you can actually see on clear days. Perhaps a little bit less so in the summer, unfortunately, because of the misty weather and humidity. But in the winter, you can get a very clear view of the Rift Mountains in Morocco across the strait. Another thing, I don't know if there's any golfers in this group, but the south of Spain is also the golf capital of Europe. There's hundreds, I'm not exaggerating, there are hundreds of golf courses in the Costa del Sol, and some of them are ranked amongst the top golf courses in the world. That's always an opportunity if you're a golf player as well. But Andalusia is not the only option, of course. There's many more pure holiday destinations in Spain. I must mention in the beginning that Spain is the second most visited country in the world after France and ahead of the United States. We receive some 72 million visitors a year, I think. That's almost twice the population. And many of those visitors are, of course, beach and holiday visitors, but then again, there are many others, business, etc., as well, of course. So in terms of beach and holiday destination, it's endless, and I think I can't go into detail on all the different areas because I was speaking for hours and hours. But I thought I'd mention a couple of them. The south of Spain is one of them. Another possibility is to visit the Balearic Islands. That include Mallorca, Ibiza, Menorca, and Formentera, and some other smaller islands as well. They're all different. This is a picture of a typical cove in Mallorca. They're very similar in Ibiza and Menorca, of course. Crystal blue water and just simply beautiful places to visit if you're up for a more relaxing holiday after working at the symposium. So the Balearic Islands is something I would recommend if you're just looking for relax and beach and swimming after the symposium. If you want to visit a city, well, the most obvious choice is perhaps Barcelona. Barcelona is the home of the '92 Olympics, as you probably know, and it's one of the most visited cities in Europe for many reasons. One of them is of course that it's on the Mediterranean coast, so the weather is wonderful, and you can actually combine visiting Barcelona and its famous architecture, Gaudi being perhaps the most famous one. As you can see here, this is the Sagrada Familia, the cathedral designed, partially built by Gaudi, and many other things to see in Barcelona. But again, Barcelona is not only a trip to see a city. Barcelona has their own beaches, and Barcelona is also the beginning of what's called the Costa Brava, which is the coast from Barcelona up to the French border, which is well worth a visit if you want to combine a trip to Barcelona with a beach holiday or a couple of days on the beach. It's very easily done. Once again, a trip to Barcelona by train from Madrid is only about 2 hours and a quarter. So easy to get to, and well worth the trip. So that's something else perhaps not to miss out on if you're coming over to Spain for a symposium and see more of this beautiful country. But there's some other things I wanted to mention as well that are sort of a bit less known perhaps, because Spain is southern Europe. It's a hot country in the summer and parts of the winter even. The climate in the center of Spain, where Madrid is located, is similar to that of Arizona, I would say. So quite nice in the winter, cooler perhaps than in Arizona. And the summers are very similar to Arizona, or perhaps not as hot, but it gets quite hot here in Spain or in Madrid in the summer. If you go towards the coast, the Mediterranean coast, it's milder in the summer and also milder in the winter. But if you go up the north of Spain, the climate is completely different, making it very interesting, because the climate of the northern part of Spain is more Central European. And the reason for that is that it's not Mediterranean, it's Atlantic coast as opposed to Mediterranean coast. So it rains more, which is why it's called the Green Spain. And culturally, it's very different from the Mediterranean Spain as well. Some people compare the northern part of Spain to Ireland or Scotland, and few foreign visitors actually make their way up to the Green Spain, and that's why I wanted to mention it as a possibility as well, as it's more off the beaten track, let's say. And if you travel from Madrid up north, one of the regions you pass is the Rioja wine region, and that in itself is of course an attraction, because you can go for a wine tasting tour on your way up to Bilbao or San Sebastian. Bilbao in the Basque Country is known for many things, for its gastronomy first of all, and more recently for the Guggenheim Museum. That's been there for about 25, 30 years now. San Sebastian, another sister city up in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country, is mostly known for its gastronomy. I'm not only talking about sort of fancy Michelin-starred restaurants, although San Sebastian has the most Michelin stars per capita in the world, but also there's a bar culture with tapas that is second to none. It's world famous. So that's something worth a visit as well. And then as you go west, there are other areas of Spain like Cantabria and Santander, Asturias, which is more mountainous, and Galicia, which is the end of the pilgrim's route to Santiago de Compostela, that some of you might have heard of. It's a pilgrim's route that started in medieval times in northern Europe, and as devoted Catholics would make their way walking through France and all the way to the northern coast of Spain to Santiago de Compostela. There's actually even movies made about the pilgrim's route. One of the latest ones I've seen is called The Way, with I can't remember right now who was the main actor. It's an American film about pilgrim's route. It's called The Way. If you want to look it up. Once again, they probably have it on Netflix, but I can't remember who's the main actor right now. Sorry about that. Anyways, also wanted to point out that Spain is of course neighboring Portugal, and Portugal is another world of things to do, starting with Lisbon and Porto as the main cities. There are many more things to see. There's the South Portugal with the Algarve coast, and the Atlantic coast of Portugal is also very attractive. So Portugal is always a possibility if you're interested in visiting Portugal and Lisbon. And also, of course, north of Spain, you have France and the rest of Europe. Don't forget about that either. A couple of pictures from the north give you a feeling for the difference between the south, the east and west, and north of Spain. This is the northern coast of Spain. These mountains you see here on the left are the Pico de Europa, which is a national park. For those of you interested in hiking, for example, it's one of the most beautiful mountain ranges in Europe, together with the Alps. And as you can see here on the right, it's a different geography, a completely different scenery. It's green and it's very rural, with some cities along the coast. You're doing a road trip or something like that. A picture, bottom right, of the Guggenheim. That's someone you might know that it was designed by Frank Gehry and actually changed changed the city of Bilbao, I would say. Bilbao was in the old times one of the main motors of the Industrial Revolution in Spain. So Bilbao is really an old industrial city that was completely revamped, can you say, when the Guggenheim decided to build their museum in Bilbao. It's been a revitalizer for the city ever since. So it's a beautiful place to visit, and don't miss out on that. Just to end, before I open up for questions, a couple of practical things to mention. I did mention already that Spain can be hot in the summer, not scaringly hot, so don't let the heat keep you away. It does get hot, but it's not worse than any southern city of the United States. Another thing to keep in mind is that lunch and dinner times are late here, even more so in the summer because of the heat. But I always recommend when you visit Spain that even though it might appear as being very, very different, but not for you, to sort of try to have lunch and dinner at the same times as the Spaniards do, because that will give you a better feeling for the city, for the culture, for the vibration of the city. Sometimes you go to a restaurant that's sort of an American time, and you'll be alone eating. And the Spaniards sort of show up when you're about to pay the bill. So please stay up a little bit later, have dinner as the Spaniards do, and enjoy the evening, because that will give you a much better feeling for what the city is like. And one of the main attractions in Madrid, I think, is the vibe, the vibrancy of the city. So don't miss out on that. A couple of things I wanted to mention as well. Some of you are traveling from far away. Many of you haven't been to Spain before. I wanted to mention also that Spain, I wouldn't call Spain an expensive country. I think it's much less expensive than many other European countries, particularly in the north. I think it's much more inexpensive than the United States. And particularly if you're a tourist, you tend to sort of go out more, go to bars, you go to restaurants, do your shopping, your souvenirs, or whatever it may be. And all these things are sort of part of the culture in Spain. There's so many bars and so many restaurants, and Spaniards spend a lot of their disposable income going out, and that means that the bar and the restaurants are, I would say, reasonably inexpensive. So don't be afraid that you're going to end up spending too much money. I think if you're reasonably cautious, you will find that it's not a very expensive country to spend some time. And with that, once again mentioning the tours on the website, on the event website, and the gala dinner. So you don't, if you intend to see the product, don't miss out on the private visit that we've organized with a cocktail dinner, because that's certainly the best way of visiting the product without having to bump into all these thousands and thousands of people and having to elbow your way around to see the more important paintings. Don't miss out on that. And with that, I wanted to see if you have any questions, really.
All right, everyone. If you want to turn your video back on, we'll see you raising your hand if you have video. If not, just go ahead and say, I have a question, and we'll call on you.
Anything will do.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just want to know about the cocktail, the Prado, the dinner you're talking about.
Yeah.
When I checked last, there wasn't a registration. It wasn't up yet. Is it up
Have you
now?
Have you registered?
I have.
Yeah, it's up now.
It is up now. Okay.
It's up now since about a week ago. So you can register for the dinner now.
Perfect. Thank you.
There's a mail going out to all of those, or all of you registered, that the registration is now up. We couldn't put it up earlier because we were still finalizing the detail with the museum to make sure it was closed and when we arrived, etc., etc. So unfortunately, we couldn't put it up at the same time. We opened up registration, but there will be an email going out to remind you. But I can confirm as we're talking now that you can register for it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay, well, let me just say that this is about my fourth time hearing Svante talk about Spain, and I'm really excited to attend the conference, and then not during the conference, but before and after the conference, enjoying myself in Madrid and the surrounding area. And we hope you will plan to do that as well. Know that in about a week, we will have this session. Again, as I indicated earlier, this session will be on the website, captioned. And if you want to look at it again, so you can go through all of the details that were shared as you plan, feel free to go to the symposium website at www.agbellsymposium.com.
Yeah, let me just say as well that I'm very excited about everybody coming. And while this call is not about the symposium in itself, this is more about what to do if you decide to stay a couple of extra days. Some of Madrid you can of course see during the symposium, although the schedule is quite tight. But it's certainly worthwhile to visit, to spend some time in Madrid, and as I said, to spend some time perhaps visiting Toledo and Segovia if you have an extra day or two, and if you have more time, think about visiting other parts of Spain, including Barcelona, including the south, or whatever it may be that interests you.
Yeah, and of course, try to sign up for one of the tours, and you'll be with some of your other AG Bell colleagues and meet new colleagues. So this is, I think, going to be just a really well-rounded conference and a well-rounded experience, and we're really looking forward to being together with everyone.